Hello and welcome to Simon's Shed. It's time to start talking about the new layout. Very much in the ideas stages at the moment, obviously, but I had sort of forgotten how much fun this part of the whole building a layout process is, because obviously you've got all the possibilities, so many different things you can do, and it's just fun throwing ideas around and imagining your sort of fantasy layout without actually so far having to actually go to the trouble of building it. So definitely savour this part of it and don't rush through it, because it is a real sort of fun part of the whole process. So as a reminder, the sort of dimensions of the shed, we've got obviously the doors there, and we've got sort of 2 meters. The graffiti from the previous owner will be covered up, don't worry. So we've got sort of 2 meters in width, and then potentially 4 meters this way. There's a lot of rubbish to move out. I think this shelf's going to go, and I'll probably put some shelves underneath whatever the new layout turns out to be. And obviously we've got another 2 meters there, and another couple of meters down there before we get to the door. Obviously got to think about leaving a way in and out, so not blocking the whole thing up with trains, but that's what we've got to work with. So I'm approaching this from what can I sort of add in terms of something extra that I've not done on the previous layout, Bodnam Woods, that hopefully most of you have seen. I'd like to get some more sort of fun elements, some more movement. I've looked at a couple of systems for getting moving cars on the layout. I've even looked at in N-Gage a working gantry crane, so I'll just show you a quick shot of that now. So it's the Brawa, it's by a company called Brawa. It's no longer being produced as I understand it, so it'll have to be an eBay purchase if I do go for this idea. But you can see the controller there as well, so yeah, just throwing a few ideas around really to see what's possible. So some of these doodles relate to other things that I thought would be a good idea to include, such as a nice long runaround loop even, and a lot of sidings for storage. Make sure I've got enough storage to keep everything on the layout without having to keep taking things on and off, which is always a pain. And this is just ideas for a station. These don't relate to anything on this section above. That was just an early idea with the sort of measurements of the shed, so that's the 2 meter width. What I actually did, again ignore that one, was sort of put these elements onto post-it notes and sort of just start sort of laying them out around the shed in different layouts to see what would work where. I think what I ended up with was the sidings over here, so there we go. So the door of the shed would be over here, and this dotted line is a possible, the dotted line is the maximum space I've got. The solid line is where I've planned up to so far, so we would have sort of sidings over here with all the trains stored on. The runaround loop would be across the width of the shed, most of the width, And then the main part of the layout, I had a sort of docks scene with the sort of container crane, gantry crane on there, and I think I've drawn it all in anyway, so we don't actually need the post-it notes now. So what I've come up with here, and excuse the crudeness of the drawing, obviously we'll transfer it to some better sort of layout planning software before I get much further. But essentially we've got two double loops with this back section here, so this is against the shed wall, being raised up, and then a sort of lower loop that goes around, and as you can see the raised section will go back over into the sidings and sort of loop right round to there and pass sort of in front of the docks, and then there'll be this sort of other double loop which is like a sort of a dumbbell shape double loop over there, and loads of sort of siding splitting out into the dock area. This little doodle here is another version where the docks are along the back of the or sort of along the width of the shed, and we've got a station worked in here, but it's the same sort of arrangement with a sort of inner double loop in a dumbbell shape there and a big sort of loop right around the edge like that. Yeah, I think that was the extent of those ideas. But in terms of the docks, I'm not really sure it gives me much. I'm just not really sure what to do, to be honest. So I mean, I do welcome suggestions of what any ideas of what you would like to see on the layout and what you would like included. The thing I don't like about this idea is it's obvious that it's just two sets of loops. You know, it's the same as Bodnam Woods, which is, you know, a double loop. It's, you know, it's very obvious that it's just a loop of track. So I don't know whether I can do something to sort of hide the fact that it's a train set that sort of loops round. I think really I need to sort of step back a stage and figure out what I really want to do. I mean, first of all, it's got to be, first and foremost, it's got to be fun for me to actually build it, and I've got to want to do it, because otherwise it just won't get built if I'm not enjoying it. So yeah, I'm not I mean, the gantry crane thing looks really cool, but as I say, they don't make them anymore, and I haven't seen one on eBay for a while. And you know, how long would that be fun for? It'd be cool for an hour or so, but would I get bored of it after that? I'm just really not sure what to do. So, after a cup of tea and a bit of a rethink, mulling things over, I've decided to sort of take a step back, and before I do any more doodles, I've come up with a list of things that you know, the new layout has to achieve. So number one, loops. I like loops because I like to just sit back and watch the trains go around, rather than, you know, a sort of end-to-end layout where you have to keep swapping over and stopping the train, running around and picking it back up again. I like to just sit back and watch the trains go around sometimes, but I don't want the loops to look like loops, so I'm going to have to find a way of hiding the fact that they are actually loops, somehow running the loop behind the scenery, or the other most common way to do it is with a helix, where it goes down underneath the sort of rest of the layout and back up the other side. So yeah, loops, but hidden loops. Number 2, I want a nice long run of track, so I can run, you know, sort of 10 coach train, and you know, it not be actually sort of chasing its tail like on Bodenham Woods. If I had 10 coaches, that's sort of about 1.5 meters in N-gauge, so nice long straight run of track where a sort of 10 coach passenger train wouldn't look out of place. It's got to be a challenge, you know, it's got to be harder than Bodenham Woods. I want to sort of push myself a little bit, whether that's perhaps modelling a real location, or more scratch building, or you know, things like that. Just different ways to push what I've done so far and make it more of a challenge. There's no point in building Bodenham Woods again. It's great, I enjoy doing that and I enjoy using the layout, but there's no point in doing it twice, so it needs to be a challenge. It's got to be fun, you know, it's got to be something that I want to build. Whatever idea I do settle on, it's got to sort of make me want to build it and want to use it in the end. Obviously I do want to put it on YouTube, but you know, that's got to be a additional thing. It's the primary thing is it's got to be fun for me and I've got to want to do it. Number 5, it's not going to be a rush job, it's going to be a long-term project, something that I can keep working on and improving over time. It's not going to be done as quickly as Bodenham Woods. It's going to take a bit longer, and it's going to take as long as it takes, really. There's no rush, there's no reason to rush it. Which leads into number 6. It's got to be the best I can build it, or the best I can afford to buy for it, and finding that sort of balance between, you know, buying stuff and building it yourself. But the point is, as I say, which sort of links into number 5, I'm not going to rush it. You know, if it takes a long time to, you know, if I need to build a row of 20 houses and I want to build them in, you know, out of the scale scenes kits, and it takes weeks and weeks, then it's going to take weeks and weeks. I want it to be the best I can make it. So those are the main aims of what I want for the new layout. I'm going to have a bit of a think now and do some more doodles and see what I come up with. But yeah, if you have got any bright ideas, please let me know and I will definitely consider them. I'm not saying I'll do them, because obviously, as I said, it's got to be something that I want to do, and it's got to be a project that I will enjoy doing, but would love to hear any suggestions. But as soon as I've had a little think, I will let you know and give you an update. That's all for now. I'll see you soon.